and click the record button because I don't see that it's recording. So I'm going to go ahead and start that right now.
You know what? Mine is a little bitty and I can't get it too big now.
Okay, in the upper right-hand corner, you should see a square, a line, and an X. If you click that square, it should go to full screen.
Oh, okay, wait. All right, I have.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. All right, Amber, so how are we with our participants coming in? Up, Amber, Kimber just arrived.
Okay, and I had one more, but we can go ahead and get started.
Started on that? All right, so good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming today. Amber, we have asked you to sort of set the purpose for today for your teachers. So if you'd like to go ahead and do that, that would be awesome.
Sure. Good morning, y'all. I hope y'all doing okay today. It's good to see all your smiling faces. I miss seeing all of you. So what we're here for today, so you have a lot, I'm gonna call it your suitcase of resources. So we're very fortunate. We're starting to fill that suitcase up with a lot of resources this year. So we know that we have the scope and sequence. And those of you that are new to 4th grade, welcome to our team. I should have started with that. So we have a lot of resources. The first resource we have is the Department of Education scope and sequence, which kind of sets the tone of what you're going to teach. We also have an interactive notebook that's a phenomenal resource. And we also have Active Classroom. So the three of those combined are going to help you have that curriculum for your students. As of right now, we know that in elementary, we're starting face-to-face. But in the classroom, when you get the laptops, this is another resource that you can use. You can set up assignments and the kids can log in to Active Classroom through Clever. And then if we have to, for whatever reason, go virtual, this is just another resource that you can use with your kids. And it offers what's so neat about Active Classroom. Think of it like a hub. It's a hub of so many resources. We know that geography is a big skill in 4th grade. They have the Nystrom atlases in Active Classroom. The DBQs are a big thing where we want our kids to look at sources and analyze them. Active Classroom can provide that for us. They even have, some of our teachers did this last year, that you can even do skits with your students. But you're going to get to see all of that today. So if you have any questions at any time, just put it in the chat and then I can answer it or answer it after. So we're very excited to have our two presenters with us today.
Thank you so much, Amber. That was awesome. And you covered some things that I'm going to go over. And since we've used a part of our time, I'm going to skip those now. So thank you. That was awesome. So I'm sorry you cannot see my video right now, but when I screen share, I lose video on this particular Chromebook. But my screen is what I need you to see right now. So I am Melissa Knowles, and I've been a media specialist for, I don't even know how many years now, but I've taught for 17 years, including in 4th grade and a few other grade levels. I absolutely love learning and growing professionally, and working with Social Studies School Service has allowed me to do that. I've been with them for at least the past 5 years, and I am a certified trainer in Active Classroom, and recently I found out that I'm one of the only people, except for our Chief Learning Officer and our Professional Learning Director, that is certified in every curriculum Social Studies School Service has to offer. I also was able to get my name in their new Young Citizens program, which is very awesome. So having my name in a textbook is something I think may be odd, that I think is really cool, but I enjoy that. I do a lot of other things with Social Studies School Service, but I'm not going to name all those today. We'll try to get into Active Classroom quick because Amber did a great job of explaining what it is going to do for you. My support facilitator today, you should be able to see, is Carla, and she is going to be helping out today with several things. So I'll let her introduce herself real quick.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Carla Weinhold. I'm actually a 7th grade ancient history teacher outside Baltimore, Maryland, but I have been teaching for 22 years in both elementary and middle school. I've used Active Classroom with my students. I also am a certified Active Classroom trainer. So I use this, it's practical with my kids. My kids enjoy learning with it. I was virtual last spring like all of us, so I was still able to use it virtually with my students as well as when we were live in the classroom in person. I do a lot of different things for social studies school service, just like Melissa. And I'm also trained on their new Young Citizens program as well. So I will be monitoring the chat. So if you have questions that you want to send to me privately, I can answer you, or if you want to send them to everyone else.
Thank you.
Melissa.
I'm sorry.
I just said, go ahead, sorry.
Okay. It was dragging off. I thought I missed something. Okay. So Carla also is going to be adding in a little bit of instructions, not super detailed, but just if you get kicked out. I was kicked out 3 times recently in a webinar and I was lost when I come back in. So if you'll check the chat, she'll just tell you basically where we are, and that will hopefully help you get started. But remember, you can always watch my screen. Put anything you need to in this chat, whether it's technical issues, questions, comments. There are reactions that you can use. You'll find those at the bottom of your Zoom window. And you can also find them when you click participants at the bottom of the participants window. And I may ask you to use those, one of those a little bit later to let me know that everyone's logged in. I have muted all of the microphones, but your cameras are active, just so that you know. Some of you may have already used our chat in the initial. Hopefully we have a few topics. I know we had some technical issues coming in, so, but we'll keep going. So my goal today is for you to go into the school year feeling more comfortable using Active Classroom with your students, and whether it's in person or virtually. Now, I really do want you to be comfortable. So don't worry if you don't remember everything I tell you today in this session. Don't worry if you forget how to complete a step, because I want you to see, if it'll switch for me, there it goes. I want you to see that we have help for you. So when you log in to Active Classroom, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a question mark. It'll be there for you and for your students. When you click that question mark, there's a downloadable teacher's guide and student's guide. Now this teacher's guide has pictures and step-by-step instructions. So it's a really great guide to how to navigate around Active Classroom. There are also short how-to videos, and these are even good to use sometimes for your students in showing them what to do. So you're welcome to pull those up anytime that you need them. Remember that question mark button. Also, this session is being recorded. I'm going to do everything as you do it, so you'll have that, a step-by-step tutorial also. So here we go. I am curious how you guys feel about Active Classroom. So if you will put in the chat a number 1, 2, or 3, rating your familiarity, I should not have used that word, with Active Classroom. Number 1, if you have not used it at all and you may be one of those new teachers to the 4th grade team. Number 2, if you've used it a little bit, but you really don't know a whole lot about it. And number 3, if you're very familiar, you used a lot last year, we may call on you for some ideas. I know you have had this as a supplement in your social studies school curriculum, but I thought maybe because of last year being such unprecedented events happening, some of you may not have gotten it. So, all right, Carla, let me know. We've got lots of ones not familiar at all. Awesome. So I'm going to give you some great ideas to use with your students and show you some of the tools. So today, what we're going to do, we're already right here at what is Active Classroom. So what I want to do is I want to explore as a student using the highlighting and annotating tools, using the speech tools. We may even get to the text and visual dictionary, which would be great for your kids. And we probably won't get to the image analysis tools, but know that they are there. As a teacher, we're going to search and assign activities. Then Carla in the classroom and I want to share some of our favorites with you and some ideas of how to use it virtually and in the classroom. some of those activities that we really like, and then we'll close and do a survey. So just so you know, I know you guys teach fourth grade, but Active Classroom has a lot of resources on all of these content areas. So if you are doing something in math, maybe on budgeting, you can pull up an activity in Active Classroom on a lot of different topics. And I heard geography from Amber. We have a lot of geography and mappings activities. Now look here, you're going to see these icons in Active Classroom, and they represent different types of activities. So I know you have your curriculum, you probably use a lot of reading. We also have video analysis, decision making, simulations. They're going to analyze images, as I said. So there's a lot of other ways for you to meet your students' needs through Active Classroom. And it's perfect to enhance what you're already doing with your students. Now, when you get into your license, you're going to have kindergarten through 12th grade. You have all access to all of the activities there. So you're going to have access to everything. Whether it's appropriate for your students or not is for you to determine, but you're going to have all those resources available to you. Just so you know, we have a ton of evaluation styles in there to fit your classroom and your students' needs. So now, did we get everybody logged in as students? You should have gone to activeclassroom.com. For those of you who came in early, you should have logged in as a student. If you're not logged in, please send a chat to Carla so that we can get you logged in. If you will, go ahead and switch to that Active Classroom screen.
I sent the login link again through the chat if you need to access that direct link.
Log in real quick. You didn't use 31, did you, Carla?
I did not. I think we're only up to 14 so far.
Awesome, okay.
If everybody got one.
Okay, so if everyone is on this screen, so it should be a different window or tab that you have opened to log in. Once you log in, once you put in your credentials and hit log in, this is what you should see. And so look real quick in the upper right hand corner, you see that question mark. So that's always there for the students too. So if you will, you should see 2 activities have been assigned. I want you to select the blue title of the activity, document-based assessments in U.S. history. Why and how do people come to America? When you select that, you should see instructions pop up at the top. Your students would read those instructions and then they could close them. Now they do have access to those instructions later if they need to remind themselves what to do. So this is what the activity looks like on the screen. You can see that there's historical background, and then on the left-hand side, it's all of the documents. Now, these are document-based assessments. So I'm glad that I chose this activity because Amber spoke of DBQ. So this activity is going to have a DBQ for the students to answer at the end. So we are only going to do one part. We're going to look at document 2, indentured servants. But if you were to do this whole activity with your students, you would read the background information. You may complete a graphic organizer or brainstorm for students to gain information to answer the document-based questions, which is why and how do people come to settle in colonial America. So they would analyze those quotes that are in each document and write an essay to answer the question. But you don't have to do it exactly. I love Active Classroom because in Active Classroom, you have choice. You can assign only parts. You can have them do it any way you want. So maybe your students have not, it's the beginning of the year, they really haven't analyzed documents. You could model a couple of the quotes first using a think aloud and then slowly release. So then let them analyze one in groups, analyze in pairs, and just slowly release to the students until they can do it independently. And it may not happen in the first activity even, but as they get more and more used to this, they're going to get better and better at it. You can also do it the opposite way. Maybe you say, have the students read Indentured Servants and analyze that, and then get in groups and talk about what they thought. And, you know, see if they can change their thinking or listen to what other people's ideas are. So if you will, on the left-hand side, put your mouse on document 2, Indentured Servants, and select that document. So in Active Classroom, we have a lot of tools to help students become independent with their learning and knowing themselves as a reader. And so one of the things that I really like is the highlighting tool. Your tools are going to be in the upper right-hand corner underneath your avatar and the question mark and log out. I hope everyone sees those in the upper right-hand corner. You should have a sheet of paper. Those are where that's where they would get the instructions, and then your paper clip, your discussion board is the little talking bubble right there. Then the fourth icon is add annotations. So what I want you to do, we are just going to imagine that we have read this. Just select any sentence, and you'll do that by clicking. And if you don't get a whole sentence, that's okay. Click and hold your left mouse button and drag it. Now that does depend. If you're on a trackpad, you would just push down the trackpad, or some trackpads have buttons, but if you'll just highlight, if you're having trouble with that, you can even just double click a word. So if you'll highlight one sentence and then release your mouse button and go up to that fourth icon, add annotations. When you click that fourth icon, add annotations, you get a pop-up window. Underneath, or the first thing on the pop-up window is selected text. So it shows you what you chose. And I chose large numbers of white people came to colonial America as indentured servants. Now, underneath that, you should see choose a highlight color. Remember, in Zoom, there are reactions. If I'm going too fast or too slow, you can let me know, or just put in the chat for Carla to let me know to slow down or speed up. I want you to be able to do this with me. All right, so if you use the drop down for highlight color, we're going to choose this to be a very important point. So if you select the blue, very important point, and then click Save Changes at the bottom. We'll add an annotation in the next one. Now look what happens. First, my sentence turned blue, and the annotation on the right, if you look on the right-hand side bar under annotations, it says very important point. And that just shows that I have added that one as a very important point. Once we get more here, you can switch between them and you can select them. So let's do one more. So now we're going to imagine we were reading this as a student and we have a question about something in the text. So if you'll highlight another sentence or word, go back up to that fourth icon, click the highlighter tool. Again, your pop-up comes up. It shows you what text you chose. Then you can choose a highlight color, and we're going to choose red for question. I'm not sure what this means. Then, once you've chosen red for question, underneath in the annotation box, type in, I don't understand, or I am not sure what this means. And then click Save Changes. Now this is, the annotation along with the highlight is very good for students to track their reading. So you can use any annotation, any highlight label you want, and you can have them put any annotation in there. So you can see there are a ton of ways, numerous ways that you could use this with students. They could even type in why they don't understand. Why they chose their very important point. We know they don't understand, and that's going to help us later. So, oh, sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to stop share real quick, and then I'm going to go back, share my screen, and share this window. I am so sorry, guys. I'm going to go to desktop this time so it stays with me. Now, can you guys see my screen? I am so sorry about that. Thank you, Carla. All right. So I hope you stayed with me, but you can see that we've highlighted that one sentence in blue and one in red using those annotation tools. We've added in why we chose, why we highlighted the sentence red. So you can see that in this document, the students have some text background and then they have their primary source quote. It also tells where it was from, 1754. And then it has a question for students to respond to. So each of these documents will have that. I went ahead and assigned each of the whole assignment to you guys just so you could see the whole thing. Now, when we go in to assign a activity to students, we're going to talk a little bit more about some different types of highlights you could possibly use. Now I want to show you some other tools. So if you put your mouse on the add annotation tool and you keep going to the right, you see print activity. Print activity does not mean that they have to actually print it. A new screen will open, or a new tab or window will open, and the students can answer directly in that window. They can even highlight, annotate. They can type directly in that window if you were to need to use that ability. Some maps and graphic organizers cannot be answered in active classrooms. So if you open that window, then they can attach it using the paperclip. So don't think print means it has to be paper. Okay, keep going to the right. Do you see the speaker on a sheet of paper with the letter A on it? When you hover over that, it says enable speech. I think you are going to love this feature, especially for your kids, because we know our kids come to us in a whole lot of different ways, places, abilities. So if you select enable speech, you're going to get a bar that pops up. The first, in just a few minutes, I'm going to give you a little bit of chance to play with these tools, but first I wanted to go over them just really quickly. And it gives a very good description when you hover over the tools. But if you select the pointer finger, it will start reading wherever you click on the page. So if you clicked on the page and clicked the pointer, it would start reading there. So any of these documents or text can be read to the student. So there are a lot of students that are good readers, but they would rather listen, or they comprehend better when they listen, or maybe they want to read it and listen to it being read. So this is a great tool to differentiate, reteach, and extend for those DREs that you do in your system. So maybe you don't want them to read the entire text. You could click at the beginning of a paragraph and then click the pointer finger, and that way it'll start reading there. The next button is the play button. If you click play on the screen without using the pointer finger, it's just going to read the whole page. But if you use the pointer finger, play will start wherever it stopped reading the last time. So it starts reading the whole page, but it also continues from where you left off. You also have your pause button, and the square stops the playback. Now there are some other great tools I think you're going to love. If you double click a word, it highlights that word. So try to double click a word. You can see that it highlights that word. Now, if you were to click the world, it is going to have a pop-up and it will translate that word into another language. The same goes if you double click that word and you click the open book icon, which is your dictionary. It's going to give you dictionary translations. It's going to give you dictionary definitions for that word. Now I love this because students can go and they can look up a word. But chances are, if it's not easy and accessible, they're not going to do it. They'll just skip over it and keep going. So it's right here for students on the page, accessible. If they don't know what a word is, they can look it up right there. Now, next to the book, you should see a landscape picture. So you've got your mountains and your sun. When you click that, you get a picture dictionary. You should get whatever you chose, you should get some pictures related to that word. Now, some words you're going to get no pictures found, I think is what it says, and that stinks. But some words are just cannot be displayed in a picture, I guess. But for certain words, it is going to have a picture even of what that word means. So I love that for students. The final, or it's not exactly the final, because we are going to talk about that, the double-sided arrow in a cross. But if you look at the cog next to your visual picture dictionary, you can see settings. So they can change the name, they can change how fast it goes, they can change the highlight color. I didn't tell you that. When it reads the text, it highlights the text as it reads it. So there's a lot of settings that you can also set your language that you want it to translate in. And then the crosshairs drag and move the toolbox. So if it's in your way, you can move it out of your way. So I do want to give you a couple minutes just to play with those tools. We've got everybody muted so you can have it read to you. You can change the sound. So if you'll go ahead, and I'm sorry we're only going to have a short time, but if you'll go ahead and play with some of those tools, I definitely want you to be able to get into assigning. So go ahead and practice with some of those. And please, while you're working, I know some of you are probably listening, if you have ideas that pop in your head, throw those in the chat. We'll share those with everybody. All right, so just about one more minute. All right, so that was 2 minutes. I hope you were able to see some of those functions and see how they are going to help support your students as they read. Again, you're going to have access to activities available to anybody in your system. So any grade level. So this may be, you may find something that's really good or part of it is really good and you want to use the reading tool to help your students get through it even though it's a little bit higher Lexile level. All right, guys, so what we're gonna do in the upper right-hand corner next to your avatar, the envelope, the question mark, you should have log out. So in the very upper right-hand corner, you should see log out. What I need you to do is go ahead and log out of the student view. When you do that, you should get to a login screen. Now, if you know your login information or your credentials for Active Classroom, you can go ahead and type them in and log in here. But you can also log in with your Clever. There's a button, log in with Clever down here. Carla has also added into the chat box a link to your Clever account. So if you'll log into Active Classroom as a teacher, I'm going to put up the login information. I'm sorry, it's blurry. I went ahead and typed over, but it gives you your portal address. Then you'll use your Clever username and password and you'll click Active Classroom SSO. So if you'll log in as a teacher, once you're logged in, if you can, do the Zoom reaction yes, and Carla will let us know when everybody gets logged in. So if you'll have to go back to your Zoom screen and go to participants, and at the bottom you should have the yes reaction, or you can raise your hand. So we're going to log in now as a teacher, going through your Clever, or if you know your credentials, you can log in straight into Active Classroom. So I'm going to go ahead back to Active Classroom and log in as myself. So Carla, how are we doing on getting people logged in?
There's only 2 people that have responded. If you need to respond with the yes or no, if you click on participants, at the bottom of the list of participants, you'll see raise hand, yes, no. So if you can just click yes or no. Looks like we have a few more.
Hey.
We have somebody just sent me a message.
Okay. Remember, if you're having trouble going back and forth, you can watch my screen. Sorry to switch back and forth, but I think it's important for you to see what the students see.
And Amber, we have a couple people who are not able to access Clever, and you're muted.
Are y'all not able to get into Clever, or can you not see Active Classroom within Clever?
I had somebody say that they can get into Clever, but they don't see Active Classroom.
Okay.
In their Clever.
What about just not going in through Clever, guys? If you can just go to activeclassroom.com and log in that way.
So I'm going to log back out just to show you guys here. So the login window, so you just put your email in the top and your password in the bottom and click login.
I'm curious if that's how Kimber got in. A couple people.
Okay.
And last year, some of the teachers, like before we had this in Clever, they were able to register themselves. and they were able to do like their own password, but they had to use their school email.
Mhm.
Okay.
Has anybody been able to get in though with Clever? And I'm gonna check with Lane, guys. Lane Bujo, he was supposed to add this into Clever for us. Because if it's not showing up in your apps, we might need to do something differently.
But
Amber, I
some-
had to type it in.
Okay.
I had to do the search for active classroom and it popped right up.
Okay, Kimber. Okay, I'm looking at Kimber's side here. She clicked login with Clever. It prompted me to sign in with my email account. I clicked it and it came straight up. Okay. If you're having some issues with Clever itself, you might have to shoot an email to Lane Bujo and to see what's going on with your Clever account.
Okay. But you can watch me for this part if you're unable to get in right now. So, Carla, did we get a topic in the beginning, or did we have
So
two?
we have two, American Revolution and Civil Rights were the two that came through.
Big ones. Okay. So pick one, Carla. Give me one.
Let's go to American Revolution.
Got it. Okay. So if you're logged in, you're on your home page, and you can do this along with me. If you're watching me, I'm on my home page. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click activities. It's the magnifying glass. Every section in Active Classroom is on that left-hand bar. So I'm going to click activities. When I do that, I can search Active Classroom for American Revolution. So I'm going to type in the search bar, American Revolution, and search. Let me see. I'm going to scroll down here. We have 9 pages of activities. I knew both of those are going to be huge. Now, you may want to organize. Maybe you're looking for a simulation, which is these 2 people right here, the very top one, acting history plays. That's a simulation. So you can search by type. So let me tell you where I'm at. Sorry. So if you look under your search bar at the results, you have some options in the top. And the first one is type. You can search by type. And those are those icons I showed you at the beginning in Active Classroom, all the different types of activities. You can search by title, which will organize it alphabetically. But you can also, if you'll scroll your mouse over to Lexile, you can search by reading level. So when I click that, a 4th grade Lexile, let me see. I wrote it down here. I can find it. Haven't been following my notes. A 4th grade Lexile is 740 to 940. So you can see we've got a lot of activities that are in your Lexile range and a lot of different types if you look off to the side. So you've got reading, you've got a C3 inquiry. You've got a ton of things for you there. Now remember something though, not everything has a Lexile level. So if I go to about page 8, I'm going to start seeing your atlases don't have Lexile, these role-playing activities, Colonial Williamsburg. So make sure if you sort by Lexile that you also then go over to the end and see what doesn't have a Lexile that maybe you would want to use. Okay, since we're getting short on time, I want to go ahead and go to assign from here, if that's all right. So whatever activity is at the top, if you'll take your mouse over where we were at Lexile, you have the option to view the activity, to check it out first and see. You can also assign it and use the check mark to select it or favorite the activity. Now, before we assign it, I do want to show you one thing. If you go to the activity title, especially on ones without a Lexile, if you click that title, you're going to get activity details. Now it has grade level recommendations. You still may want to use this activity even though it's not rated for 4th grade, if it fits. So you could check it out first and see if it fits. So I definitely wanted to make sure that you knew those activity details were there so you can learn a little bit more about how long it should take and what grade levels it's recommended for. But if you'll go back off to the right side of the screen and just click assign on any activity, that's going to be the person's profile outline. When you click that, you get a pop-up. This pop-up, and I'm going to select a different one because I want more activity options. There, that'll work. Okay, this pop-up is all you need to assign it. So let's start at the top. In the pop-up window, the first option you have to change is title. You cannot title two activities the same thing. So you may want to say group 1 or period 1 or however you want to designate that to distinguish it if you're going to assign it to more than one group. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. So here you can just leave the title just as it is for us today, but just know that you cannot have two activities named the same title. You will have to change it. You also, if you look down below title, you have due date, so you can put in when you want it to be due, but you also have an unlock date. So you can plan for the future. You can have all your activities set and it will unlock on whatever date and it will automatically assign to the student on that date with the due date. Keep going to the right and you can show grades as either points or as a percentage. So that's just your choice. Now, if you keep going to the right, you should see custom highlights, and that's that blue button. When you click that, if you'll go ahead and click that, you're going to get a pop-up. On the right-hand side, you can see there are some highlights that are your default highlights, which are highlight, main idea, supporting evidence, and geographical term. But you can click that X if you want to get rid of those, and you can add your own. So let's add a highlight under Create Highlights. Go down below Create Highlights, and under Label, you would put a highlight name. Now, there are a lot of different types of highlights. So I did a very important point. If you use a read with a pencil strategy, you could choose things like that's important, or I have a question, I'm unsure about this word or phrase, key vocabulary word. This text feature helps me understand the text. Any skills you're working on or that would help the students, you can add there. So type in something like vocabulary. Then go down below your label. You can choose the color. There are 13 options, so you have a lot of choices here. So choose whatever color you like. And then all you would do is click Add Highlight. When you click Add Highlight, you can see now under Assignment Highlights, your highlight is there. So you can customize this any way that works for you and for your students. And you may even have groups that need more highlights and groups that maybe have less highlights. Sometimes we partner read. So when we do that, sometimes I'll have the students highlight the part that they read and the part that their partner read, and then summarize each part. Then if I see that they're having trouble, maybe when their partner reads, we can talk about some listening things. Maybe their summaries aren't quite as good when they're not reading, and they can work on some skills there to improve. So this is really to help, I think, your students become more independent and start using these tools that help them comprehend and understand better. So if you keep going to the right, in the box, you can add in your student instructions, and those can be whatever you want your students to do with that activity. You can also check the box underneath, and that would show students the correct responses. So anything that's auto-graded, like a multiple choice, they're going to know the correct responses after they submit, and they can see immediately what they did not get and what they did get. So you may want to check that if that pertains to that activity. Keep going down below and to the left. Do you see sections to assign? Now, I love this because you don't have to choose the entire activity. You can choose just parts. So maybe you want them just to read the background essay of that activity. You can select that. So you can completely differentiate, extend, and reteach directly in Active Classroom. keep going to the right and you can select participants, students, and groups. Maybe you have some students that you want to do the postscript. You could do 2 different assignments. So I'm going to add this to my demo class. And then I would scroll down to the bottom. You can see on the right, I can review my selections and then save assignment. Now, if you logged back in as a student, you have that assignment saved. And I'm sorry, I clicked through that assignment. That pop-up that came up when I clicked Save Assignment, it's had a link. You can add that if you use a Google Classroom. You can add that link, or you can share the link with students, and they can click the link and they'll go directly to that assignment. So that is another great feature in Active Classroom. All right, one more thing I want to show you because we are very close is your curriculum map. So if you go back to your home page, which you can do by clicking this logo, Active Classroom logo in the upper left-hand corner, on the bottom you can see your curriculum map. You may have to select your grade level, but just know that that is there. Maybe I have overwhelmed you with all of the different things that I've told you today, but starting with something that's already created is much easier. So know that curriculum map is there. You don't have to use it, but it's there to help guide you and get you started or show you some activities that were suggested based on your standards. All right, guys, so if you'll come back to the Zoom window, I want to show you some activities that Carla and I really like. First is history tunes. Now these are songs to help students remember. I remember things better when it's in a song. It also includes tier 1, 2, and 3 questions. So you can increase the difficulty in your questioning directly in history tunes. They can then create their own lyrics, do a music video. So it's a fun way to get students into learning and developing that content. Below history tunes, you'll see some video options. Now these are short. Carla in her classroom, she sometimes is working on main idea and supporting details. So what she'll do is she'll watch the video for students to find the main idea. Then they'll come together, they'll pair share, they'll choose a main idea, they'll discuss it, figure it out together, and then they'll watch the video again with that main idea in mind to find the supporting details. She says this works very well with her students. Now below you can see acting history plays and to tell the truth. Acting history plays are just what you would think, plays. To tell the truth is more of a game style format where you have 3 people. One of them is the actual historical character and the other 2 are imposters. And the students have to figure out, based on questioning, who is the real historical figure. And what I was thinking was, if you're doing a virtual setting, or if you're doing it in your classroom, obviously you can do it in person. But if you're in a virtual setting and you use speaker view, when it's the student's turn, they come on and they speak and their face pops up and you could record it. It'd be like a virtual movie. I think it would be really cool to use any of those types of simulations in a virtual environment. All right, guys. 1 minute, yay, we did it. I am so sorry I felt like it was a lot all at once, but you have an idea of some things that you can do in Active Classroom, and there are so many things. Once you get in there, you will see. And remember, you don't have to go search out a song. It's in Active Classroom for you. You don't have to search out a play. It's in Active Classroom for you. So know these additional resources are right here. They have a lesson to go along with them. They're ready for you. Carla has put our training evaluation URL in the chat box. So if you'll click that and please complete this evaluation, I would love to hear your feedback, and I take that to heart because I'm trying to get better. This is new. This type of training is new to me too. So I definitely want to do better. In fact, to be honest, you're my first today. So I really enjoyed it sharing with you today. And I know Carla and I both thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much, Amber, for your support in Active Classroom. I can tell that you value it as a tool for your teachers. And I hope we have
I can do that. I'm going at 3.
shared that today, how valuable it can be. So
Okay.
thank you, everyone. Carla and I will stay on for a few more minutes, but if you'll complete that activity, whenever you're ready, you can close Zoom unless Amber needs something else from you guys today.
Thank y'all so much today. And I know y'all, this was a very, it was a quick training, and that's what it intended to be. On virtual, we don't want to spend hours and hours on a virtual training. With that being said, I've learned active classroom just by playing with it a lot. Once you start digging in, and you're going to see all those activities at the top. I found the secret is to be very specific. I should have done this. I requested American Revolution, but I should have picked like an event, for instance, like the Boston Tea Party, and that's going to help narrow the search down for you. But when you go to the home page and you click on that curriculum map, the work is done for you. There are suggested activities that you can do with your students. So let's say if you want to put an activity in your class notebook, because that's an added resource we have now, you would go to that print option and you can print that activity from there and it's a PDF, so you can put that into your class notebook. So that's another option as well that you could do. But the curriculum maps will help you. So remember, this is another added resource. Let's say you feel like there's a gap missing, or you want to bring some fun into it. You want to add some music. That's where these active classroom resources are really, really going to come into play. Y'all, in terms of Clever, unfortunately, I have no control over that. If you're having any issues with that, I'd requested it to get added. I don't know if maybe JPAMS hasn't transferred yet with it. So if you're having some trouble and not seeing it within your Clever, please let Lane Boudreaux know. In the meantime, if you go to Teams, I have an active classroom folder, a channel, and if you click on that, it can send you to a registration link. If you wanted to just go ahead and register just so you can get into active classroom for right now, just to see what's in there, but please use your school email. And it's you can put your own password, I believe, but eventually when you're added in, it may hinder with that password. But I know Kimber said she was able to get in, so the app was showing Kimber in your account. What about our previous 4th grade teachers, Jordan? Was it showing in yours? No? It was? Okay. It might just be for our new 4th grade teachers that it's not showing up. So maybe if we give it a little time, it might come up. Okay, don't forget to do that survey, guys. And thank y'all again for being here.
The survey's not coming up.
Use the last link, Wanda, that I sent. I actually stuck an extra letter in the one, either the first one or the last one I sent. They're both the same.
Okay. The last one, it says unable to find URL to direct to.
Give me 1 second. I'll send it to you in a
If you click on the first one, Miss Daly, the docs Google, it was able to come up for me.
The what? Oh,
The first link.
okay.
Try that one.
Yeah, that one is.
Okay.
And while I have you on all here, I just want to throw a plug in. Amy Vaccarella is doing the class notebook trainings this week. That's really, really important. And the teams trainings, if you can sign up for those, please check the district calendar. Especially the class notebook one. Please sign up for those.
They're not sight words, but kids learn how to use them as sight words. They've never seen that word before, so they have to rely on the coding skills. The chunk of
So Amber, if I don't have Clever on my laptop, I have to call Lane?
Do you have Clever? You don't have Clever access. If you go to your school website,
Uh-huh.
at the top, you may not have Clever directly on your desktop, but you click on the Clever app from your school website. It should be
Okay.
one of the tabs, and you click on Clever, and you do your email and your normal password, and it should send you in. And then
Okay.
you should see an active classroom app in there.
All right, let me go
You
look.
taught last year, 4th grade, so you should be.
I
good to
taught
go.
5th grade last year.
Okay, so
I'm teaching 4th and 5th this
4
year.
or 5
Okay.
should give you a good understanding if they
All right.
can't do it. It should also give you a good understanding if they can. Like you should be able to figure it out.
and then after you complete the survey, guys, if you don't have any further questions about it, and if you do later on, just shoot me an email or a text. So again, thank you so much to our presenters today. Thank you, Ms. Carla, and thank you, Ms. Melissa. We appreciate you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Real
ma'am.
quick, Michelle got me to read the whole thing, but I mean, if you get halfway in, I didn't have any problem. Just get going. So yeah, just go down here just to make sure. You always go across. Oops. Sorry. You always go across, and then either you figure out.
Amber.
Yes.
Oh.
Then you go down.
I'm scheduled to do the 5th grade too. Is it going to be about the same thing?
Yes, ma'am. You don't need to do the 5th grade. We're
Okay.
just going to show you how to get in and out. So thank
Okay.
you for signing up for it.
Okay. Thank you. So I don't have to
Welcome.
do that.
You don't have to do the 5th grade, no, ma'am.
All right. Thank
Go
you.
down.
You're
Like
welcome.
if, let's say she was reading and she was only getting the first 2 columns, just those, CVC words, the 3 like.
Hey, Heidi. Heidi?
And also a side note, Michelle can show you school pace later.
Hey, Heidi, can you hear
We
me?
have 3, 7, 5.5, 4, 5 or 6, 5.5, 5 to 6.
If so, Heidi, if you can hear me, we're actually going to log out of this call. I just sent you an email with the 5th grade link. It's going to be another link for us to use.
4.
Hey, ma'am. Okay,
Hey,
I missed this one, right?
yeah, that's okay. That's no problem. The 5th grade one's coming up at 9:30. I just shot you an email
Okay.
that we'll have. It's going to be a new Zoom link. So if
Okay.
you want to just click on that one for 5th grade.
Okay, good deal.
Cool.
I'll leave this one then. Thank you.
All right, see you in a bit. Thank you.
So to switch into that one, I'm going to go ahead
Y'all
and
are so close.
Okay. Well, ladies, I'm going to log off of this one so I can get rolling for the second one. Miss Gann and Miss Smith, thank you so much
Go ahead.
for joining today.
yes.